Hi friends, TK this side. In this video, we will learn what is GDP, its meaning of GDP, and what are the constituents of GDP. To simply put forth the concept of GDP, for example, I go to the shop Haldiram and pays 100 rupees to buy 2 samosas. What happens? Haldiram then pays the wages to his staffs. These all activities have contributed to the GDP of the country. But is this enough to understand GDP? Absolutely not, friends. We need to understand the 4 major constituents of GDP that finally constitute the GDP of a country. So friends, don't forget to like the video, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell for updates. Let's begin to understand what is the meaning of GDP and what are the constituents of GDP. Before we talk about the various constituents of GDP, which in fact measures the overall health of the economy. So how to define GDP of a country? It is nothing but the sum total of value of goods and services of a nation. So GDP stands for gross domestic product. Now, how to define GDP? GDP is equal to C plus I plus G plus NE. What does it mean? C stands for consumption. I stands for investment. G invests on government spending. And NE stands for net exports. Let us understand and demystify each one of these. Now let us understand the first element of GDP, that is C, which stands for consumption. It is nothing but the money that we spend, you and I spend on buying goods like samosa, coffee, tea, or any goods that we buy. Or we pay for the services like consultant's fee or even for a haircut. These all make up the GDP. In most of the major economies, the consumption or a personal spending constitute nearly 50% of the overall GDP of a country. Now let us talk about the second part of GDP or second element of GDP, which is I. I stands for investments. This relates to the investments made by the business houses on things like buildings, land, equipments. So these are investments. This also includes the major consumer investments like buying a house. So these are the investments sometimes takes a back seat if the economy has some issues or some problems, which in fact lowers the GDP of a country. Now let us understand the third element of GDP or third part of GDP, that is G, which stands for government spending. Now, India is a federal structure kind of government. We have a state governments and we have a central government called union government. So both governments, state government and central government, spends money on things like infrastructure development, like building roads, building schools and colleges, and investment on defense. These constitute the government spending, which is a part of GDP. Now let us discuss about the fourth part of the GDP or final part of the GDP in fact. And then we will talk about how the technology changes the very texture of GDP. So the fourth element is net exports. What does it mean? A country makes exports of certain goods and services and imports also. So if it is a export positive, means exports minus imports are in positive territory, it is giving a positive impact to the GDP of a nation. For example, in India, we have a net exporter of rice. India exports rice, is one of the major countries in the world which exports the rice, while of the rice is very negligible. So here it is positively impacting the GDP. But talk about the crude oil. We do not have the enough crude oil in a country which can meet the demand in the nation. So India is under compulsion to import the crude. So in the front of crude, it impacts negatively on GDP. So GDP is the universal measure of health of an economy of a country. But is this GDP alone is important? No, friends. GDP growth rate is significantly important because the percentage change in GDP over the period of time will decide how the country's GDP or economy is growing. And that is why when GDP grows at certain percentage rate over the period of time, the economy is expanding. And therefore, if GDP contracts for 2 quarters back to back, it is technically speaking is a recession. What we have seen in the US in the recent time in year 2022, when the quarter 1, quarter 2 economy contracted, which in fact indicates there is some trouble in the economy and economy is slowing down. A good news is when the US economy was contracting, India economy was growing at a faster pace. India is thus one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Now let us talk about the texture of the economy, how it changes with the technological advancement. We all love to listen music. We all love to watch movies. Am I right saying so, friends? So just remember olden days, when in order to listen to the music, we used to buy the cassettes or CDs and contributing to the GDP. What the scenario has changed over the period of time as we stepped into the digital era. Now we can buy an annual subscription of Amazon Prime for 900 to 1000 rupees a year. In that, we can listen unlimited amount of music through Amazon Prime in a whole year. So we have stopped buying now cassettes and CD kind of thing. We can watch several movies on Amazon Prime. So as the technology advances, the very calculation of GDP will also get affected, and GDP calculation will evolve over the period of time. So I hope, friends, this small presentation on GDP might have given some value addition to you. Give a lot of thumbs up to this video, share this video, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell for updates. Thank you very much for watching. Looking forward to meet you very, very soon.